Most men learn this lesson the hard way. The moment you start caring too much about a woman, you start losing power in the relationship. The more you chase, the more you text, the more you try to prove you're a good guy, the more attraction mysteriously starts slipping away. And you sit there thinking, what just happened? Because nobody teaches men this rule. We grow up hearing the opposite: care more, try harder, show her how much you like her. Then real life hits you like a brick. You meet a girl you really like, so you do everything right. You text back fast. You plan dates, you show enthusiasm, you are attentive, you are respectful. Basically, you become the gold standard boyfriend candidate, and suddenly she starts replying slower than government paperwork. 3 hours later, she sends back, "Hey, sorry, just saw this." Meanwhile, she definitely saw it. She saw it the same way people see the pizza delivery guy outside their door. But here is the uncomfortable truth most men eventually discover. In dating, the person who cares less often has the power, not because they are smarter, not because they are manipulating anything, but because human psychology reacts very strongly to emotional leverage. Relationships are not just romance, they are also a quiet exchange of value. Attention is value, time is value, emotional investment is value, and like any exchange, the person who needs the outcome the most usually ends up with the least control. Think about it this way: if a man feels like he absolutely must keep a woman interested or his entire emotional world collapses, he has already handed over the steering wheel. Now, the relationship is not a connection. It is a negotiation he cannot afford to lose. Meanwhile, the guy who is calm, relaxed, and not emotionally dependent on the outcome gives off a completely different signal. His life does not revolve around one woman. He has work, he has goals, he has friends, he has things to do besides staring at his phone like it owes him money, and that independence changes the psychology of the interaction. Humans instinctively value things that feel scarce. When something is always available, always eager, always waiting, the brain quietly downgrades its importance. But when something feels slightly out of reach, attention increases. You can see this everywhere in life. Limited edition shoes, exclusive clubs, concert tickets that sell out in 5 minutes. Nobody wants the thing that is sitting on the shelf begging to be chosen. And unfortunately, a lot of men accidentally turn themselves into that shelf. The moment a man begins over-investing emotionally before the attraction is solid, something shifts in the dynamic. The woman does not necessarily think, wow, this guy is desperate, but subconsciously she feels the imbalance. One person is chasing, the other person is deciding. And once that pattern forms, the relationship slowly starts orbiting around the person who needs it the least. That is the psychological trap many men fall into. They believe caring more will secure the relationship, but very often caring too much too soon quietly gives away the power. Now, before some guy hears this and decides the solution is to become a cold, emotional robot, relax, fellas. That is not the lesson, brothers. You are not supposed to walk around acting like a mysterious statue from a Batman movie. Some guys hear this advice and suddenly they think the goal is to reply to every text 3 days later with one word: cool. Congratulations. Now you just look like a guy who forgot where he put his phone. The real issue is not caring. The issue is needing the relationship to survive emotionally. And women can feel that neediness almost instantly. Men think women are analyzing them logically. They are not. They are reading emotional signals the same way a lie detector reads sweat. You can say all the confident words you want, but if your entire nervous system is screaming, please like me, please, and the moment she feels it, something strange happens. The dynamic flips. Instead of two people discovering each other, the relationship starts to feel like one guy is applying for a job and no one wants to date a job applicant. Imagine a guy on a date leaning forward like a nervous intern. So, do you think you might possibly consider maybe liking me at some point in the future. That is not romance. That is a performance review. Attraction cannot grow in that environment because attraction needs space, it needs mystery, it needs the sense that both people are choosing each other freely, not that one person is desperately trying to hold the whole thing together like duct tape on a leaking pipe. And this is where the paradox appears. The harder a man tries to secure the relationship, the weaker his position becomes. The more he chases reassurance, the more the woman begins to feel like she is managing his emotions. And once attraction turns into emotional babysitting, the game is over. No woman wakes up in the morning excited to maintain a grown man's emotional stability. She wants a man who already has stability, a man with direction, a man with a life, a man who enjoys her presence but does not collapse if she decides to go watch Netflix without him. This is why the guy who cares less often ends up with more influence. He is not panicking. He is not overanalyzing every message. He is not staring at his phone like it is the last oxygen tank on a spaceship. He is simply living his life, and that emotional independence sends a powerful signal. It says this man is here because he wants to be, not because he needs to be. And strangely enough, that difference changes everything, because attraction grows strongest when a woman feels like she is winning a man who already has a full life, not rescuing a man who was emotionally drowning before she arrived. So the real psychological lesson here is not that men should care less. It is that men should build lives that do not revolve around a single person's approval. When a man has purpose, direction, and confidence in his own path, relationships become something very different. They become a choice. And the moment a relationship becomes a choice instead of a survival strategy, the power dynamic changes completely. Suddenly you are not chasing, you are participating. And ironically, that is often the moment attraction starts working in your favor again. That's the system, nothing personal.